Hey, my name is Young, member of the Teen Advisory Board with the Howard County Library System, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys switch statements in Java. Now, switch statements are very similar to conditionals, which we talked about previously, so hopefully this should be an easier lesson for you guys. So this is our agenda. We're going to be talking about what switch statements are exactly, their syntax, cases, breaks, defaults, and then we're going to do a quick practice exercise. So what are switch statements? Well, switch statements are very similar to conditionals, and some pros are that they're actually much faster. They evaluate much faster than conditionals, which doesn't really matter in most cases, but at least in larger projects it does matter. And it's also a little bit more readable compared to conditional. The cons are it's a lot less flexible, and that con is pretty big. And because of that conditionals are generally much more popular than switch statements. I've actually never had to practically use a switch statement ever. Just given that I only coded for a program for like a year, a little more than a year. But yeah, I never really had to use switch statements, but they're there if you need it, and it's kind of nice to know. So yeah, here's a diagram of a switch statement, but I'll go more into detail about what it exactly is. So the keywords that you need to know for switch statements are switch, case, break, and default. There are actually 4 of them, which is a lot. So there's going to be a switch and then parentheses, and you're going to put in some sort of expression in there, and that's going to be like an integer or a string. And then you're going to put a curly bracket, and then you're going to do case, and then whatever, and another case, whatever, and then you're going to have to add a colon, a full colon, not a semicolon, a colon after that. It's just kind of like Python if you've done that before. And then whatever code you want to execute if that case is true, and then case, and then another one with a colon, blah blah blah, and how many cases you want. And then the default statement and the break statements we'll talk about later. But for now, the cases are the only thing that we're going to talk about for now. So cases indicate what the expression can possibly evaluate to. So in this code example here, I have integer number set equal to 7. So number is now 7, and we're going to switch the number, or we're going to call switch on the number. So as you can see, we're going to pass 7 inside the parentheses, and case 2 is saying if the case happens to be 2, right? If number is ends up being 2, then we're gonna do system.out.println line 2, and then after that we're gonna discard all the other cases and just go through it. That's when like the switch hits, and that's when everything just starts flowing, right? But unfortunately, 2 is not 7, so we're not gonna do that one. But then the next one says case 7 system.out.println line 7, right? So that's saying, in the case that the number is actually 7, we're gonna run 7. Like we're gonna print 7 and then go down the list. So after that it'll be 9. And fortunately it is 7. So we're gonna print 7 and then case 9. Although 7 is 9, because we satisfied a case earlier, we're just gonna go through that case too. So it's gonna print 7 and 9. So it prints both of them. So the reason why these switch statements are faster than conditional is because they just jump right away to whatever case it fulfills, compared to conditional, which have to evaluate the whole statement. So that's why these switch statements are much faster. And breaks basically allow for Java to break out of a switch statement without testing all cases. So it's kind of similar to loops in programming, but breaks are kind of so remember how we went through all the cases despite if the case is true or not after we only satisfied one case. For example, back here we satisfied 7, and then we just went ahead and printed out the 9 as well, even though 7 is not equal to 9. Well, break can help you stop that. And again, it saves a lot of time because it ignores other chunks of code, and also it can sometimes be more accurate. Sometimes you need it for your switch statement to actually work like you want it to. And yeah, breaks are actually very commonly used in switch statements. So here we have the same example, except after every single system that I have to print, we put in breaks. So what that'll do is if the case hits there, it's gonna do the system.print, and then it's just gonna break. So that whole switch statement is over. So this time when we do num is 7, of course case 2 doesn't work, but case 7 works because 7 is 7. So we're gonna print out 7, but then we're gonna break. So we don't look at the stuff of the case 9, right? Previously we did look at it because as long as one case is satisfied, all the stuff that comes after is satisfied. But because we have a break, we're not going to care about that. So that's why I only print 7 in the console. Now the default keyword is very, very similar to an else statement in conditional, and it's kind of like a last resort case for these switch statements. So if going back to this code here, we have num is equal to 8, and this time I set it equal to 8, not 7. I think I did 7 previously, right? Yeah. So this time it's 8. And we're gonna do switch num, same thing. So now num is 8, and then we're gonna, do the whole syntax, and then case 2, case 7, case 9, and then we're gonna provide a default. So, all the other cases are the same, but then we have a default case, which only runs if none of the cases are satisfied. None of the cases, actually worked. So the default case is system.out.println, not 2, 7, or 9. And because case 2, case 7, case 9 were not satisfied because 8 is not equal to any of them, that's why it defaulted to that statement, and it printed whatever is in that default chunk of code. And that's going to print not 2, 7, or 9. So that's basically a default statement. So yeah, that was literally all the content for today's video, and here's a quick exercise. So, print the day of the week given a user input integer. So for example, if I inputted 3, it'll print at Wednesday. And we're going based off the assumption that 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, 3 is Wednesday, 4 is Thursday, 5 is Friday, 6 is Saturday, and 7 is Sunday. That's our assumption, so go ahead and print out all the days of the week. Or not print all the days of the week, like make a switch statement that given a number prints out that day of the week. So I encourage you to stop the video here and try it for yourself before I actually program and try to solve it myself, and you guys can watch me do it. So I hope you pause the video and try it for yourself. So I'm gonna actually open up my Eclipse and go ahead and attempt the problem for myself. We haven't ended yet, that was a mistake. Alright, so now we have Eclipse open. First thing you want to do is go ahead and import a scanner. So we're going to do import java.util.star. That basically imports everything under java.util. If you want to be more practical, you can just do java.util.scanner, like so. But, if you're going to just do like a small little coding project, you can go ahead and do that. It doesn't really matter. And then we're going to actually instantiate our scanners. So scanner, whatever, is equal to new scanner object system.in. So that creates a scanner for us. And then we're going to go ahead and take an integer input the user puts into the console so we can, put in the switch statement. So we're going to do int num is equal to, and then we're going to do sc.nextInt, like so. And then we're going to do our switch statement. So we're going to do switch num. So now we're going to type in, after I fix that typo, now I put in our cases. So let's do case 1, which will do system.out.print, or no need for a print line there. I'm just going to do print Monday. There you go. And then, excuse me, and copy this and just paste it a lot of times, over and over again. I think that's 7. And then you just change all these cases to 2, and then change this to 3, and then 4, 5, oops, 5, oops, 6, 7, and then we're gonna change these to the other days. So Monday to Tuesday, this one to Wednesday, this one's gonna be Thursday, this one is Friday, Saturday, and finally we got Sunday. So yeah, we kind of put in a switch statement here, and before we do anything, we want to make sure that we put in our breaks here, right? Because if we don't, then if we do 1, then it's going to print out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all that. So we don't want that to happen, so we're going to put in a break after every single case. And I should have done that earlier, but I'm going to pretend like I did this too. I intentionally did that. And then finally, we want to put in a default statement just in case the user did not provide that. So we'll do default system.out.print not a day of the week. Cool. So that is done. So let's see if this works. Oh, by the way, I think before you actually try it, we should probably, for good practice, close the scanner. So we'll do sc.close. That'll close the scanner. So let's give it a shot. We're gonna run the program. Eclipse is gonna do its thing, and then it is running. I think, is it running? Can't really tell. There you go. So let's see, let's type in 3, which should print Wednesday. So yeah, it does print Wednesday. Let's try some other things. Let's try like 6, which should do Saturday. Very good. And now let's try something that doesn't exist, right? So we'll test our default statement. So we'll go ahead and do like 8, which doesn't exist. And yep, it says not day of the week. So that's our coding exercise. Hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully it was a fun one and helped you understand switch statements better. Let's go back to our slides. So yeah, thank you for watching, and look up for future videos and finish the playlist if you have been going along with it. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at chspyoneers. Visit our website, and again, email us for questions if you have any questions. We will definitely respond to them, I promise. So feel free to send us any questions through email. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Goodbye.